Two reasons why I don't run negative splits, and the reasons you may not want to if you are running your first half or full marathon. A negative split is running your fastest minute per mile at the end of your race. So if you're running a marathon, miles 24, 25, and 26 are your fastest minute per mile compared to the first 23 miles. Now, here are two reasons why you may not want to do that. Number one, you are setting a personal record. First, you are setting a personal record, meaning on race day, you are running farther than you ever ran in your entire life. Let that sink in. You will be running farther than you've ever ran in your entire life. If you're running a half marathon, training plans go to 10 miles, so you'll have to be running an additional 3 miles on race day. Now, a marathon, most training plans go to 20 miles, so you'll be having to run an extra 6 miles on race day. You'll be setting a PR. Think about all the times throughout your training when you set a PR. Every Saturday or every Sunday when you were on your long run, on your calendar, it said you had to run 1, maybe 2 miles farther than you've ever ran before. Were those runs, those last few miles, were they easy for you? Were they hard for you? Were you tired? Were you sore? Were you cramping up? Because if you were, then a negative split is not a good idea. Because if you're running a marathon and you have to run 6 miles farther than you've ever ran before, there's a chance that you will be, there's a high chance, very high chance, that you will be tired, you will be sore, you will be cramping up. And if you think that you'll be able to run those miles at your absolute fastest, you're crazy. It's simply just not going to happen. Running my first marathon, I hit the wall at mile 22, which happens to a lot of runners who are running their first marathon. And my next 4 miles were my slowest miles. I was in pain. My calves were cramping up. My hamstrings were on fire. My arms were sore. Who would ever thought your arms would be sore running a marathon? But my arms were sore. I was way too tired to even think about running those last 4 miles at my absolute fastest, right? That's the biggest thing, is that you'll be setting a PR and that you will most likely be sore running farther than you've ever ran before. All right, that's number one. Number two, it's simply the unknown. Anytime you run a half marathon, especially a full marathon, a lot can happen. A lot of unknowns can happen. Things that are unpredictable. You could get a muscle cramp. You could step on someone's ankle and break your foot, roll your ankle. A lot can happen. You could get dehydrated. You could be hungry. You could get mentally tired. Your headphones could die. That happened to me one time. My headphones died. The rest of my miles were by far the slowest, just because I didn't have my music. So there's a lot of things that are unpredictable that can happen. Let's say you're running. You're on mile 22, mile 23, and you start to cramp up in your hamstring, and you gotta, wobble your way, all right? Wobble your way the next 3 miles. Do you think you could run those 3 miles faster than you did the first 23 miles? No way. No shot. Not gonna happen. It's simply not. You'll be in too much pain. How do I know? That happened to me. Mile 25, Austin Marathon, last year. All my miles were anywhere from like a 7:30 to like an 8:30. First 25 miles, that range. Mile 25, literally 25.2 to be exact, I got a hamstring cramp. I had to run that last mile like a zombie from The Walking Dead. I was hobbling, one step in front of the other, one step in front of the other. And that was my slowest mile by a long shot. I finished like 11-minute mile. I still finished the marathon in 3.5 hours, but that last mile was my slowest because I got a hamstring cramp. Do you think you could run faster than you've ever ran before with the muscle cramp? No way. No shot. Not going to happen. So here's what I recommend if you are running your first half or full marathon. The pacing strategy is simple. I call it time banking. Strategy right there, time banking. All right, what time banking is you run the first half of your race slightly faster than what you want your average minute per mile to be. So if you're running a marathon and you want your marathon time to be 4 hours, the average minute per mile needs to be 9 minutes. You want to run the first 13 miles anywhere from about an 8:35 to an 8:55, all the way up to about a 9-minute pace. Those 13 miles, 10, 20, 25 seconds faster than the 9-minute pace, which will then enable you to run the 13 miles a little bit, just a little bit slower than the average time. You could run the next few miles at 9:10, 9:15, some throw 9:30s, and you can just coast. You can kind of just ease your way in. You'll see all these runners, they'll be running full speed, trying to go faster than they ever ran after they're already tired, and you can just laugh at them. You'd be like, you're not gonna make it, and you'll just be able to coast, enjoy the experience, drink some pina coladas while you're running, while everyone else is trying to run faster after they're already tired. It's just not gonna work out in their favor. I see it all the time. So what I would recommend is time banking. Run the first half of your race, whether it's a half marathon or a full marathon, 20 seconds faster than your average pace per mile, and then you could use the other 13 miles to slow down a little bit, right? If you start to cramp up, you start to get tired, or you're sore, or there's a hill, you don't need to stress about having to run that mile or those miles faster than you did in the beginning of the race when you were fresh. So like and subscribe.